it's a completely different city than it was in the 70s when I was growing up. I mean, the idea of I have a 4-year-old son, when you were old enough to have a bike, you were old enough to have your bike stolen, basically. You were old enough to be mugged.
The idea of wilding in Central Park is in the past. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it just even little things like if you had nothing to do and you wanted to get mugged, you got on the L train. Now you get on the L train and it's all these hipsters and everything else. And it's just a much, much safer, better city. And so we're not used to it. We're not accustomed as culturally to say things are better, but things are amazing right now.
One thing I wanted people to understand, I mean, you said that the budget was at the mercy of Albany and of Washington. And the city is still, it's safe to say, in receivership from the economic crisis of years ago. They really don't handle their own finances without some rubber stamp from Albany, correct?
Well, look, the city of New York is a constitutional creation of the state legislature and of the state constitution. As such, it's still the mayor of New York City is a fairly powerful mayoralty compared to a lot of other cities. And the city council has a lot of responsibility.
And when you say it's a creation, what do you mean? Meaning the 5 counties have a special...
Right, meaning literally the political subdivision of the city of New York was a creation of law. It was a creation of the state constitution. And as such, you're at the whim. And all throughout state law, you'll see things like cities of excess of 1 million people must do A, B, or C. And you do have a state legislature that still...
So where does the city's money come from? I mean, for people who don't understand the political process in as much detail as you do, they nonetheless recall that basic kind of primer where federal dollars come largely from income tax and state from sales tax and municipal dollars from property tax. Is that still true in New York City, that the preponderance of money comes from... property tax?
Here's where the city, less so than most cities. Like, for example, our education budget is not tied to property taxes as it is in Long Island, a lot of suburbs, and a lot of cities around the country. Because we have 2 giant engines of revenue. One is the financial sector, which, when you hear about people getting these obscene bonuses, we're getting a piece of the action on those bonuses. Although the day-to-day transaction type of things don't create revenue for the city, but all the deals, the big deals, we're getting a little piece of that. And the second thing is real estate, which it's at mind-bogglingly high levels. I mean, you can literally buy a $40 million apartment in New York City. And it's, those 2 revenue streams are very strong. Now, we do have a Byzantine property tax assessment system, which has apartments being taxed at a certain level, co-ops being taxed at a certain level.
Who's to blame for that?
It's another very complicated thing. What it's kind of like one of these things, a camel is a horse designed by committee. It's a little bit like over the course of time, different constituencies have put their finger on the scale and now created this weird system.
So you're born in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
And you went to Plattsburgh, way up there in the boondocks.
That's right.
It's a province of Canada.
Virtually.
Where you went to school up there.
I need it to be close enough that a 30-minute car ride can get me 6.5% alcohol beer. That was basically the criteria. When my dad and I were talking, where do you want to go to school, son? He's like, you can go.
What did he do?
He's just a neighborhood lawyer guy. My mom was a school teacher. But, they basically said I wasn't that good a student. They said you can go anywhere you want. It's a SUNY, State University of New York, or a CUNY school, anywhere you want. So I kind of look, what's the furthest one away that I can go play hockey every day? And
who was the tougher one, your mother or your father? Who are you like?
I'm probably more like my dad in that I'm fucked up in the same way he is. But, it's probably my dad had the greatest kind of influence on the path I took in life for good reasons and bad reasons. That, he was the...
He inspired you to go into politics and public service?
No, not in that way. No, but he would be the one, arguing all the time and, hey, to defend your positions and that kind of stuff. But, it's funny, you actually you were there a little bit at the birth of my career in a strange way. Let's see if you can figure it out.
It has to do with Chuck Schumer?
No.
With what?
Glengarry Glen Ross.
Okay.
You guys
wow, what a leap.
You guys were filming while I was running for city council for the first time. You guys were filming, I guess externals, I don't know what you guys call them, by the Sheepshead Bay subway stop. And I don't know why. I think the outsides of the thing. And so crowds would form. People in line, I'm like, what's going on? This is Sheepshead Bay. We're not used to it. It's not like...
to someone say, get some signs.
Totally. I'm working the lines. I'm like a Jewish version of that guy. Who's in this movie? Alec Baldwin. I'm a Jewish version of that guy.
I'm the Jewish Al Pacino.
Yeah, because, when you're running for city council, a gathering of 20 people is wow, I hit the jackpot here. And then I'm thinking, I should probably make an issue of all this fucking double parking these guys are doing, these Hollywood guys. But yeah, that was it.
You like politics, don't you? You did.
No, I totally do. I totally do.
In the movie, and we're going to get to the movie, in the movie, you're waving that banner. You're waving that, and you look like a kid. You're so happy.
Yeah.
And these people are all jumping up and down, and they love you. There's a part of you loved retail politics.
No, I love that.